I don't know. I mean, my business is based here, so it's like I couldn't leave it around. It's like my business is like my baby, so
So
I had to
really.
make sure it just continues to grow.
So I know that where you grew up and kind of like your upbringing, it influenced your relationship with firearms and your decision to start your business. Tell me a little bit about how you grew up and what your experience with firearms was.
Well, it's kind of funny because growing up in North Philadelphia, you don't usually have a positive interaction with firearms. Growing up, I remember having a gun pointed at me when I was like 6, and just losing friends to gun violence and things of that nature. And growing up, the only two people I seen with firearms were cops and drug dealers, and there was never no middle ground. And then people that were older than me were always saying, "Yeah, a gun is power, and you don't want to be the only one without power." So it had me curious, like, well, it's no middle ground. There's police, drug dealers, and where is that like equal ground? But it wasn't any. And then a gun equaling power, I was like, I mean, I guess I kind of understand if everybody has a gun, you don't want to be the one without one. But it made me just want to become more knowledgeable about firearms and just dive into it more. And then once I started doing it, I was like, okay, so a gun isn't power, it's responsibility. And then I wanted to be the voice for people that represent that middle space that nobody ever talked about.
Yeah, tell me about the journey towards starting your business.
I think probably just always looking for proper education and then finding people that were instructors and the way that they always would relate information to people. I took a few classes and I was just like, I could probably do this better. And then I had a mentor, Mike Hall, that when I became an agent, because I started a security company initially, and I helped somebody else pass their firearms qualification. And at the end of the day, he was like, "Hey, come here." I'm like, "Oh, here we go." And he was like, "You ever thought about becoming a firearms instructor?" I'm like, "Nah, not really. I just want to run my security company." And he was like, "Nah, you should do it." He was like, "You did a great job. He passed." He was like, "You just didn't understand the proper terminology." So he planted the seed, and I still really wasn't for it. But then I went and did it because he was mentoring me. So it's like, let me give it a try. And then I started doing it, and then just fell in love and just full speed ahead, never look back.
So, in addition to his mentorship and his encouragement, what would you say drew you to wanting to follow that career path?
I mean, one of the biggest things was growing up in an urban environment. I never seen a lot of firearms instructors that looked like me and understood the struggles and the trials and tribulations of growing up in that environment and overcoming firearms trauma. So I was like, I could be that void that I didn't have. And that's really what pushed me to start going full speed ahead with it.
Why is it important for you to fill that void? Why does this work matter to you?
I think because people look at firearms and they kind of have a dark cloud over them. But I think when people are more educated about it, then they start to understand that it's not really a firearms problem. We have a certain particular people problem because the firearms have been around for forever. So now you just have people misusing them. So it kind of puts the dark cloud over them. And then you have people that experience firearm trauma, and it's hard for them to overcome that. But when you have people that are from the same area and environment that you were in and they've overcome it, it kind of empowers other people to know that you were where they were and then to see how far you've came.
It's a really good answer. Oh my gosh. Um, can you tell me more about just like the day to day? What does it look like to be a firearm instructor?
A lot of just research, always fine tuning my skills, going through curriculums to see if I like anything, if I want to change anything. Then every time after I teach a class, and me myself, I always remain a student. So I'll go out, train with other instructors that have been doing it longer than me, that are still active, retired military, SWAT guys. So I'm always increasing my knowledge, just so I'm always passing forth knowledge that's up to date and not passing off something I learned 10 years ago that's not as relevant anymore. So I just want to always stay on top of my game. So remaining a student, I'm always learning. So whenever people come to the classes, you might take a class with me a year ago, you take it this year, and you're like, wow, this was a whole different process. Because as I grow, the classes grow, and then my students grow.
what are your favorite parts of the job?
Empowering people that have been victims of domestic violence, and it helps them get their power back, knowing that I might not physically be able to beat this person up and defend myself against them because they're bigger and stronger, but that tool becomes the equalizer. And that confidence that you see a lot of people get when they feel they had that power stripped from them, just the confidence they get and the reassurance of being able to protect their family.
That was a fantastic answer. I'm just gonna have you do the beginning of that answer. I'm gonna need that fully framed thought. My favorite parts of the job are, or my favorite part of the job is empowering people. I know, it's tough to remember, but yeah, just the beginning of that answer again.
All right, how do you want me to start again? My favorite part of
What are your favorite parts of the job?
okay. My favorite parts of the job is just probably empowering people. People that were victims of domestic violence, and actually those core group of students that were victims of domestic violence actually helped me improve my skills as an instructor, because you couldn't teach them the same way you teach everybody else because they're coming with trauma. And at the same time, you have to have that approach as not just an instructor, but create a safe space where they feel okay, they feel safe, and just seeing that empowerment, that shift of nervous to confidence, and that knowing that okay, now I'm more confident in being able to protect me and my family, because somebody might be bigger than you, they might be stronger than you, but the firearm is a tool that makes it kind of an equal playing field. So just seeing that confidence in students, that's probably my favorite part.
I really like what you've been saying about, the confidence and the resilience. And I think a lot of that is very exemplary of the American spirit. In your own words, how would you say that, your mentorship and your leadership, how have you seen the American spirit come through?
In my opinion, I think I see the American spirit come through with rallies where it comes to protecting firearm rights, because you see people from all different races, backgrounds, all coming together to support one right that we all have that a lot of people cherish, but at the same time, it's a little taboo for a lot of people. So a lot of people don't want to just be, yeah, we need our gun rights. I'm pro 2A, but they feel that way. But when you start getting to these town hall meetings and things like that, where everybody's on the same accord, where race doesn't matter, religion doesn't matter, we're all united for one goal. And that just shows like the strength of America.
What does the American spirit mean to you?
The American spirit, to me, I would say freedom, because you could start with nothing and you could build an empire just off of hard work and dedication.
That perfectly leads into my next question. Another facet of the American spirit, entrepreneurship. You started your own business, your own LLC. Can you tell me about that and what it's like, being an entrepreneur? Would you consider yourself an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I mean, my opinion on being an entrepreneur is when you're a real entrepreneur. Because I know a lot of people say it, and it's just their way to kind of get by when you're between jobs. But being an entrepreneur is just you eat, sleep, and breathe business. And even when your business starts to thrive, you want to pour into another business, and it's like you always have the drive to create things and create opportunities, because a lot of times when you're building a business, you empower other people to put food on the table for their family. So I think as an entrepreneur, it's just great the opportunities we have, as long as you're able to grow with the times and start to understand different things like AI, and just be able to grow with the times. But entrepreneurship is definitely great. It's hard work. I mean, you might work 40 hours for a job, but as an entrepreneur, you're never off the clock. You're always working, because there's always something to do, something to learn, reviewing things that you could have did better. So you always want to improve. So there's never really a dull moment, because you're always learning, you're always moving, and you're always working.
I think starting your own business and becoming an entrepreneur is the definition of the American dream. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. Just because, like, you just have an idea. And then when you start to gather ideas, then it becomes a plan. Then you start putting action behind it. then it becomes a LLC. And then as it grows, then it becomes a business. And then you just start to put people in places to help you grow the business. It's like a plant. You water it, give it some sunlight, some food, and just watch it grow and flourish.
Tell me more about your LLC. Like, give me the elevator pitch. Basically, what do you do?
So I'm a law enforcement firearms instructor, combat pistol instructor. So we train everybody from law enforcement to the regular everyday person that is thinking about getting into firearms, but they don't know where to start. So we have intro classes where we talk to them about how to select your first firearm and things of that nature. Instead of just going off of what works for your buddies, what people tell you is a good gun, nucleus of those things like how does it feel in your hand, things like that matter. Because we could teach you how to shoot anything, but it just depends on how it feels in your hand. Because if it's comfortable, it's easier to do and replicate over and over again. But if it's uncomfortable, then it's like, this don't really suit me. So it'll be something that you do once and then you kind of just put it in a drawer and don't really care no more. So it's just one of those growing things and just being able to help people to start in that level and then just watch them grow. And now we're actually working with a force on force training academy. So now we actually could take our law enforcement training to the next level where we're actually able to do force on force, which is the closest thing you could get without really being in a real life situation.
It's really exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Must be really rewarding work that you're doing.
It is when you gave people this knowledge and it's helped them in real life, those phone calls are priceless. Like, I mean, obviously it's a business, so you pay me to train you, but when you get the phone calls of what you taught somebody at work and they went home okay, that's priceless.
What do you hope for, the future of America and the future generations that you're teaching firearm safety to?
I think more than anything, probably just the respect of firearms and just to understand, use them for what they're meant for, which is self defense, and not abuse them and what you end up seeing on the news and things of that nature. Because firearms is such a taboo thing where if somebody gets drunk and gets in a car accident, we blame the driver. But if somebody does something ridiculous like a mass shooting, we blame the tool. When without a person doing anything to it, it wouldn't hurt anybody. So I just think the next generation that I like to put into them, like I think one another thing too, when we have more people that are knowledgeable about firearms, knowledgeable about situational awareness and self protection, a lot of stuff with crime will drop because criminals like soft targets. But when we have a nation that's more knowledgeable, more vigilant, people that are paying attention, not to mention people that care about other people. Because now we're in a society where somebody gets attacked, people want to pull out their phones and record it as opposed to help. So hopefully people are training and become more knowledgeable and we start having more first responders because they're there instead of a person that just wants to film it and put it on YouTube, Instagram for some likes and views.
Are you hopeful that we, as America, we can get there? We can get to that place of being more knowledgeable and responsible?
I know we can do it. It's just people have to just stop getting caught up in the smoke screens of mass shootings and when they try to say, oh, guns are terrible. And then you listen to politicians saying the average person doesn't need this. But at the same time, you're saying we don't need it, but your bodyguards to protect you have it. So if we don't need it, why do y'all have it? So just has to make sense. So just don't get caught up in the smoke screens and believe in all of the BS that they're putting out there and really do your due diligence. And then once you start to see that firearms really are a positive thing, it's probably one of the reasons that we never get invaded because we have so many firearms here.
Can't disagree with that. What about America and Americans specifically gives you that hope that we can get to that point?
I think when Americans go through tough times, it brings unity because you might not agree with everything somebody else thinks or feels or believes in, but at the end of the day, when certain things happen, people become in agreement and they start to focus on the things that they have in common and not the things that they don't. Like if you go to a concert, you see people of all different races, religions, and everything in unity singing a song because they love music. So when we start getting to that point of personal growth, then we can get to that next level.
That's a great answer. I totally agree. Uh, Byron, this has been great. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention that I haven't asked you about yet?
No,
Great.
I think
Okay, perfect. I mean, I know I got everything that I needed. This has been fantastic. Last thing I will have you do before we send you off is I'm going to have you look right down the barrel of this lens here.
okay.
I'm just going to have you say, "My name is Byron Franklin, and this is my American story." Whenever you're ready.
My name is Byron Franklin, and this is my American story.
Perfect. I'll have you do it one more time just for variety.
All right.
Whenever you're ready.
My name is Byron Franklin, and this is my American story.
Perfect. And last thing, I just realized we didn't get this yet. What is the name of your LLC? Just
Oh, it's Train to Fight LLC.
perfect. Can I get a I founded or I run, I train to fight
Okay, I
LLC?
got you.
Yeah, are you ready?
I founded and I run Train to Fight since November of 2015.
Perfect. All right. I think we got everything we need from you. Thank you so